Happy full moon in Virgo, tesoros. Of course, always have to give some beautiful beast love from my kamikaze Valkyrie back there. I had to jump on real quick and say not only happy full moon in Virgo, but also happy lunar eclipse, and it also happens to be a blood moon. We won't be able to see the blood moon with our naked eye again for a little bit of time after this one, but just other layers on top of existing layers of energetic shifts happening for all of us, for our world, for people in their personal spaces, whether we like it or not, right? Whether we like it or not. So, there has already been a lot of good info out there around how to approach this full moon in Virgo. That also, again, is a lunar eclipse in Pisces season, amongst lots of other things going on astrologically. Tis a time, as they say. Now, if you are plugged in at all to what's happening in the news, you also know that we continue to see this play out on the global stage through ongoing violence and volatility and uncertainty with conflicts that we are very clueless about how they're going to play out, that have been long standing, but also a lot of new and uncertain approaches. And we just don't know how things are going to play out. And so, not only do we see things at the macro, so as I say, the macro level, the world stage happening, but we are feeling it in our individual bubbles as well. So, okay, all right. Full moons in general. Full moons are always completion times. So the next few weeks are really good for putting things to bed, putting things to rest that we really don't need to take into this next chapter with us. We really need to just let them be por fin, finally. Now, because I also am someone who very much is an advocate, or believes, I should just say, believes that science plus spirituality equals magic, my loves, magic indeed. I wanted to bring some other food for thought for you to the table, especially for my folks who might not be super about astrology. If you haven't ever heard of something called the Schumann Resonance, check it out. So, the Schumann Resonance at one point in time was something we just thought existed, but now we know it does. We can measure it. This is a measurable set of very extremely low frequencies across the globe. And these are global electromagnetic waves that are frequencies that we can tap into, that we can measure. And the baseline is 7.83 hertz with the Schumann resonance. Now, this Schumann resonance is impacted, can fluctuate, can go beyond that base of 7.83 hertz based off of things like solar activity, off of lightning strikes, and lightning, I should say, storms more than strikes, but the strikes would impact as well. But also the internal geomagnetic forces at play in our planet, in our Earth, impact as well. So we know that even though we cannot necessarily hear these frequencies at the base 7.83 hertz that it is at, we are still impacted as creatures by those waves, by those electromagnetic waves, by those frequencies. And when they shift, when they are impacted by something going on, it impacts us as creatures. And it can impact all creatures. That's why also, again, Virgo season, well, let me take that back. Pisces season, but with the Virgo full moon, just give some extra TLC to our little beautiful beasts, our little criaturas over there. They probably have some heightened sensitivities going on right now as well. But back to the Schumann resonance. So right now during this full moon, we don't have a lot of solar activity going on that's impacting the Schumann resonance, the frequency. But we do have some internal geomagnetic activity in the planet that is impacting it. So it is actually not just at its base level, it is a bit moderately higher. And what does this mean for us as creatures? So we actually can be impacted by such things physically. So some people are much more sensitive physically to the environment, right, to the energetic forces at play. And some experience this as literally having like body tingles. They can explain tinnitus or ear ringing. This can just mean even a more dysregulated nervous system. This can also mean feeling more fatigued and drowsy, where again, you kind of go, where can't quite pinpoint why that might be happening suddenly. So, definitely a heightened emotional sensitivity. So, for all my empaths out there, my hardcore intuitives, you got to take extra care of yourselves. But this also can produce much more vivid dreams. So, for all of us, like tap into that, listen to what our unconscious and subconscious in the dream world is trying to tell us. Okay, why share all of this? Because I want to showcase that whether you're leaning into the astrological forces and to that particular, or those tools, I should say, to help navigate this time and what's going on with us, we also can turn to something even like the Schumann Resonance to see how that is fluctuating and how that might be impacting us at a physical, emotional, spiritual, mental, intellectual space. I mean, fill in the blank kind of deal. And then from there, I ask, so what are you going to do about all of it? What can you do about all of this? Well, we can't change many things at play, but you can control what you're doing in your reality, right? In your little world. For the most part, most of us can. So I ask you, what are your rituals and your ceremonies, your practices, your routines that help ground you when you're feeling scattered? If you are feeling physically the impact of this time, maybe you need some somatic release. Somatic, physical, just means physical release. Do you need to dance in your living room? Do you need to jump around a bit? Virgo full moon, Virgo health. So perhaps this is going and taking a class of some sort. This could be yoga, this could be Tai Chi, this could be Zumba. Maybe you want to do some kickboxing. I don't judge. My point is, maybe you need that physical release. And if it really is a sensitive physical being, then perhaps it isn't something like kickboxing and it is something more like a Tai Chi or a meditative practice, something quite slow moving, but that helps you with the resetting of that nervous system, with that stabilizing of that nervous system. For others, you're going to see it in your environment. Hence why I said give some more TLC to these little criaturas if you've got them. They might be feeling it more. So are you tuned into them? Are you observing them accurately? Also, Virgo, acts of service. It's also your day-to-day routine. It's paying attention to the details. We're not in a time about being overly prescriptive. We're not in a time about where you need to be obsessive about following all the rules, frankly. What you really need to be leaning into, though, is letting go of anything, any old status quo, again, rules, restrictions, parameters that just no longer serve. Let them go so that something new can be created eventually. And we're in a time of creating new foundations that are going to manifest over the next many, many years. So this is just one blip in time on a shared road of really monumental change. Okay, I'm going to try to leave it at that. But if you're willing, share. What are those rituals? What are those practices? Try to ground yourself and not be overly impulsive at this time. But be kind to each other and to ourselves as well, because things are volatile and we are impacted. All right, besitos bellos. Always such a pleasure. Thank y'all so much for continuing on this ride with me. Hasta la próxima. Till next time, take care of yourselves, okay? Mwah.